Alrighty, hopefully this works this time. Our first video, we lost connection. So basically, um, so before we got a couple more things to do on the car before we do primer. But we did hit a little road bump on the way. It wasn't really a road bump it wasn't that bad. All we did was we didn't know what we needed to do before primer because we do have the car and it is bare metal. So with bare metal, you have to put something down before the primer, which this is the primer we'll be using for the actual primer. And then we went out and got this because on the car beforehand, you have to use epoxy primer because it is bare metal. So it pretty much protects the metal, and then it will make it so this primer can adhere to it and make sure it doesn't flake off or anything later on down the road. So we got our activator here, which we're going to set this with our other primer activator so that when we spray the car, we can get it all ready. So we do plan on spraying this car here soon. Hopefully by the video on Saturday. We're just trying to get a good day where it's good weather so that we can make sure it goes down good. So here's our epoxy primer here. We do need to spray this first. This is like a non-sandable primer, so once it's on there good for good, unless it's real rough to sand. So what we'll be doing is we'll be spraying this down and then going right with this primer right after, so we don't have to sand it down at all to get it ready. So it will be like an all-day thing. So we're just waiting for a good day to do that. But so this is black, and the reason why we went black for this is so that when we put this down and we start sanding, we'll know before we get to bare metal, because if we start sanding it and it turns black, we'll be able to see that it's black and know to stop sanding. So hopefully we do this either tomorrow or the next day, depending on the weather, and if we can get out here and film. So before we do any of that, the only thing we have left to do on the car pretty much is sand one more wheel well, which we'll probably be doing on live here. And we got to sand the gas tank or the gas cover inside, and then we could probably start taping this thing up, and we'll do that on here too. So let's get into that. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn this around so we can get this thing pointed at where we're going to be sanding so that you guys can see it. Alrighty, right there. So what we got to do is we got to sand this and make it so that it's all down to bare metal just like everything else. So let's grab us a stool here and we'll take a look at this. Alrighty, so first things first, we got to take these two bolts out right here, which hold in the gas tank. So let's grab us a ratchet and take those off. It is getting chilly here, so they say it needs to be a certain temperature before for spraying primer. So we do need to wait for a little warmer day so that we can make sure that the primer is all good and everything. So we are waiting on that. It's about 50 degrees, 50 to 60 degrees. So hopefully it's warm either tomorrow or Friday so that we can get ready and put this thing in primer. So we got one bolt off. We'll get this other one. off, and then we will see what else we can get into. Alrighty, so let's grab us some plastic baggies so we can know exactly what these are for. Alrighty, so we just put gas lid on there so we'll remember what that's for. Now let's see, on here we do have our shocks in the back. They are rubber, they have air in them. So we do have a leak, so it is all the way down. But right here is where you put your air in, so let's see if we can take that off and get that pushed to the back. We might need a deep socket for this one. Oh, it was already loose. So we'll take this off. So now that we got this off, all we're gonna do is put all the bolts back on and then push it to the back, because we are gonna be taping this off so that none of the primer goes onto the other side or the inside of the car. Alrighty, so we shove that in there, and all we have left to take off are these little rubber stoppers here. Let's hope we can get them off without breaking them. Let's grab us a set of pliers to grab on so we can get a good grip on them. Oh, and it broke. Well, we'll just have to buy us a new set. This car is almost 40 years old, so the rubber on here does break very easily. It's very brittle, so we will have to buy us a new one of these little rubber stoppers, which shouldn't be that expensive. So that one broke too. I think that these are meant to be they only go in, not to be taken off, because as you can see, the end is like that. So once it gets clamped in that metal, it's hard to come out. So I think it is meant for just to be in there for good. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our grinder, because our DA won't fit in that. We got our grinder here, and we're gonna grind this off real quick. Alrighty. So we're gonna get our glasses. And we're gonna start sanding on this thing. As you can see just from this here, it is coming off pretty easy and good. So let's hop onto the rest and see how it comes off. So all we have to do here is make sure it's smooth. As you can see, there is this pink stuff, and that is body filler. That is factory. There's probably a seam here from where they welded this on, so that's what that's for. So pretty much we just got to make sure it's all smooth and not all rigid, so that the primer will adhere to it. So let's keep going on the other side. Alrighty, so there we go, and that is looking good. So all we did was got it smooth enough for the primer to hold on to it. So there is one more spot right here that we're going to get real quick. And that is good for that. So what we're going to be doing is taking some plastic and putting the plastic inside so that the primer doesn't go through onto all this stuff. So let's cut us out a little piece of plastic to put over that. We actually have some plastic in the bed here from when we did these rails over here. Grab us a little piece of that. Grab our knife. all up in here. Grab us a little piece of tape. Try to get this to stick in there. So now that we got this on, all this is really going to do is make sure it doesn't get on that. I'm fine with it getting down here inside because that really doesn't affect anything, but I just don't want it on that where the gas goes in there, because we probably won't be getting a new one of those. So now what we got to do is we got to go over to the other side and do that fender or that wheel well, which shouldn't be very long, should be very easy, and then we can start taping up stuff. We'll probably start taping up the back glass and do the windshield or the other door. So let's hop over there and see how well this wheel well stands out. This over there real quick so we can get everything moved. Alrighty, so now we can move this over there, our little part. Okay, so now that we got this over here, let's set this up for you guys so you guys can see it. Alrighty, so what we'll be doing is sanding over here just around and see how it looks. See if we need to put any rust prevention on it. We just got us a new piece of paper. We can get this piece off, that'd be great. Alrighty, so let's start sanding this and see how it looks, if there's any rust or anything. we do have some rust on here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and spray our rust prevention on there and put some plastic and let it sit for about 30 minutes. So we got our stuff here, let's spray that on. Make sure we get it all good. Alrighty, so let's get us some plastic here. Probably need to go get us our tape. Alrighty, so now that we got that, what we're gonna do is start taping up the rear window so that we can get it all ready for the primer and all that. So I'm gonna move you guys back to where we were. That's a good shot there, so let's grab our tape. Our tape here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around it and then grab us some plastic and put it over. So let's go up there and start doing that. we just got everything taped up on the back. So now let's go cut us a piece of plastic. Now that we got this on, let's start cutting it and see how it turns out when we take it all off. I will say that taping is or prepping is the worst part of it. Getting everything taped or plastic up and taped up. That has to be the worst part of it all. So we'll probably be doing the other parts off camera, so you guys don't have to witness that. But I can't wait to get this thing in primer. It's gonna look so good, and it'll be one more step to getting to getting all the mods that we're gonna be putting on this thing, and all of that. So like we did say, we are going with a black paint job on this. We have been asked if we're going to put any like racing stripes or any of that on, and we might, we don't know what we're going to do yet. We think we might just go classy and just go with the classic black, but it just depends on what we end up deciding towards the painting stage. We probably will get everything in primer and then start working on either the bottom of the car or we'll sand the primer down, but we'll probably be waiting to do the paint till we get closer to getting everything done. And that's just because we don't want to get our paint done and then have to worry about scratching it and all that. Just got that done. So let's hope that it doesn't fall off. Let's see how long it's been on this. About 15. Make sure everything in here is nice and on good. I think it's looking good. So, next I think we'll do these little small windows here. I just need to get this rubber off real quick right here. Alrighty, so we just got the rubber off. As you can see, so let's toss that over there. And let's grab some more tape and do these windows right here. So let's get you guys to the spot where you can see. There you go. Let's grab the tape here and start doing these windows here. So this epoxy primer, it's very thick, so it probably will take a while to get it sprayed on. So that's why we gotta wait till a good day to get it on, because it is like an all-day ordeal. So rubber piece in here. See, they use this little rubber in there to hold the windows in, but it sucks for the people trying, like us, trying to redo the car, because this rubber does not come off, and if it does, it's a mess. So now let's grab that plastic that we just used, put it on here. Alrighty. Good piece. Alright. So grab our razor blade here. Start cutting. Alrighty, so we just got that window done. We do need to put a little tape on the bottom, because we didn't do it that good. A little bit on the side. Hopefully while we're spraying this doesn't blow out, because that will suck. It shouldn't, because it's not too much force or air blowing through. So hopefully it doesn't blow through on it. So now what we're going to do is do the other side, and then we'll probably save the doors and the windshield for later. Let's get this rubber off here. So what we'll be doing is we'll be saving this live like do the other ones, because I know a lot of people are in school right now or at work, so we'll be saving this for later on. So now that we got most of this rubber off, after that, so now what we're gonna do is get this thing taped up. Alrighty, so let's go grab that plastic again and get this side done. Alright, let's grab the knife. And get to cutting. Alrighty, so we just got that all done. So we'll probably do the doors and all that off camera or off live and do that just on our own time, because we know you guys do not want to see that. So let's get ready to go check and see how it's looking over here. We'll probably do this live for another 20 minutes. So let me go get a pair of gloves real quick and see how that looks. Alrighty, just got me a pair of gloves. I did that because it does burn your skin. So let's just peel off this side and check it out. And then let's peel off this side real quick and see how it looks on this side. And I think it's looking good. Yeah, it looks good. So now what we're gonna do is wipe this down, and then wipe it down, and then let it dry, and put that black stuff on. This stuff right here. You do need to sand a little more over here, so what we're going to do is just grab this real quick. We're going to actually grab another pad here and sand a little more down. We just want it completely smooth so that we don't have to take or sand off the primer and re-put it on. So now what we're going to do, now that we sanded that, we're going to take this, our fast etch, and we're just going to spray it on where the rust is and start taking the Scotch-Brite and going over it with this Scotch-Brite. And by doing this, it gets rid of most of the rust. and then it will be ready for that paint. So now that we did that, let's wipe it off. Make sure it gets all dry, and then we can put our paint on here. Alrighty, so now while that's drying, so we do have, when we get this thing all done, we are thinking of, we're looking at engines right now, because we want to get this engine pulled soon so that we can primer the firewall and all that, and make sure that the firewall is all ready for paint and all that, because we're going to be doing the firewall and around the engine bay in black too, so it's like when we go to shows and stuff and we have our hood up, it all looks good under the engine, or under the hood. And we might just go with a crate 350 motor and then add what we want to add to it. So that's what we're thinking right now. And so it probably will be a little down the road before we do get an engine or anything, but we want to just tell you guys what we're thinking about. And the engine we have in there right now, a lot of people say just to keep it and get it all like cleaned up and shave it down and get it so where it would be producing more horsepower and stuff, but we'd just like to go with the new engine and all that. Our engine right now has about 280,000 miles on it, and we'd rather just go get a crate motor that has 0 miles on it and build it up how we want our motor and how we want it to sound. So that's what we'll probably be doing. But we'll be watching the prices though to see if it goes down or up, and if it does start to go up, we'll go ahead and get one. But right now, crate motor is going for like 3,500, so we'll just have to see how it looks after, or how much it is down the road. So now that this is dried up, let's start spraying on our rust encapsulator. Alrighty, so that's looking already pretty good. What we'll have to do with this is we'll just have to take probably 400 grit paper and just scuff it up for primer so that the primer adheres to it. So we'll let that dry and see how it looks in a little bit. It doesn't take long to dry, so we'll do that here soon. But we see if I can flip this over. There we go. So as you can see, when we do shut the tailgate, how our gaps, how it's really tight down here and really wide up here. I'm guessing over here, as you can tell, it's pretty good with the line's pretty good, the gap is. So what we think it might have happened is this up here might have just started to, like, over time and throughout the years it started to pull that way, or when the accident that he was in happened, it might have pushed it that way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this clamp here, it's for framework. We're gonna tighten it down and then pull this in and pull that top gap closed more. And what that will do is make this whole line look more flush with each other, and it will just overall make it look straighter and everything. So that's what we'll be doing, but we'll probably be doing that off camera just because we don't know how long it'll take and all that. So we're just gonna do that off camera. And our tailgate is looking really nice. So this black paint, it's for like salt protection, for like when during the winter when they put salt on the road. So we still do have to primer these. It's not that hard to get it ready for primer. All we have to do is take a little Scotch-Brite or like wet sand it with 400 grit to just get it all scuffed up, and then we can go ahead and primer it. This is how our fenders and hoods will come, or hood will come. It'll come just like that in the black material or black paint. So when that comes in, when we aren't sure when we're gonna order it, we might order it here soon just to get it. So when we get everything in primer, we can get it all put on and see how it looks. But we are gonna be waiting to to take this radiator support off when we take the engine out and pull that. So so when we pull that, we'll be taking that off, and we'll probably wait to put the new one on till we get our new engine, just to see if it all works and fits good. But our new engine won't have all these like factory stuff for it like this, and it will be a lot more open in here and look a lot cleaner. It is dirty just from like sandblasting and all that, but our new engine will be nice and clean. We'll probably be painting the head, like the covers and all that. I'm not sure what, like we might go with a red and a black, because for our seats we're probably going to be going with black with red stitching, and then in our dash we'll probably be going red or black with some red accents. As you can see, the inside's very dirty. We do need to clean it up. We'll probably do that after primer, because just get everything nice and clean. We do have a lift that we have here. It isn't put up yet, but we are hoping to getting it put up soon, so that we can get this thing in the air and check out the bottom and see what we're working with down there. So once that gets done, we'll be able to drop the engine out real easy on the lift, and after we drop the engine, we'll be able to take out we're going to be getting a new rear end, because if we go with a higher horsepower, we don't want to take the chance of ripping out the rear end. So we're just going to get a new one of those and see how that goes. But let's see, this paint is drying up, and it is looking real good. You can't tell that there was even rust there. And so now all we have before primer is sanding a little bit up where there's some rough spots in the bed, and where there's a little like over here you can see there's a little paint there. We got to get that off and make sure it's all good and ready, and then all we have to do is tape up and get this thing pulled out. We'll probably be pulling it out in the middle of the barn so that we move that tractor and the four-wheeler, and we'll be putting it out there so we have a lot of room to go around this thing. And we'll be putting a mat down, because that epoxy primer, if I can get this over here, I'll set you guys up and talk to you. Alrighty, there we go. Flip this around. So this epoxy primer right here, it's like a mixture. It's like between a rubber and a plastic. So if it gets on the ground, it's not going to come off real well. You'll have to probably like chip it off, or if it oversprays and gets on one of the tractors, this stuff isn't sandable. But it is sandable, but it takes a lot to sand it. So we'll be doing this, the whole car in this, even the bed. I know we're going to go with doing bed liner and then do a wood finish, but we're going to put this down because the moisture, especially with it getting closer to winter, the moisture will come in and start rusting this thing out. So we want to get this on as soon as possible on everything that's bare metal, so that we don't have to worry about any rust. And then once this is on, we're going to go straight to this, So we don't know if we're going to do it in 2 videos or 1. It just depends how long it takes to get this epoxy on. So that's probably going to be a wrap to this live. Next video will hopefully be out Saturday. Hopefully of us putting this epoxy on. And if it all goes smoothly, it will be epoxy and primer in 1 video. But we just got to check the weather and see how it looks. So yeah, that's going to be a wrap to this live. Thanks for you guys that have joined. And if you are new to the channel and this is the first time viewing it, make sure you're subscribing. And we'll be putting our link to the our Instagram in the bio. So check that out. If you like our merch, check that out. If you guys, with it getting a little colder outside, we might be working out something to do hoodies. Comment what you guys think about the hoodie idea. And if you guys want that, we'll be doing that. So hopefully next video will be us putting on some epoxy primer and maybe even primer. So that's going to be a wrap. Thanks for watching, guys.